Throughout the Kendrick and Drake battle, there were multiple references to the Compton rapper's 5th studio album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Whether it was Drake using the Mr. Morale title to reference Kendrick, or Kendrick referring to the album title itself, it was something you had to have context for to understand the rap battle. And if you made it to the Heart Part 6 without knowing the reference, Drake's last diss had lyrics that absolutely got you to check it out. My mom came over today and I was like, mother, wait a second, that's that one record where you say you got M'd. This continues and Drake has some pretty distasteful lyrics that make fun of SA victims, but that's not what we're here to get into. The point is, this diss got people to go back to Mr. Morale and analyze the lyrics, and if people didn't already know, Kendrick never says he got M'd in the song. To understand this video, you'll have to listen to Mr. Morale in its entirety, so if you haven't done so already, do that and come back. Kendrick crafted Mr. Morale to encompass a different therapy session in almost every song. However, I would argue Mother I Sober takes themes scattered across the entire album and ties them up in a way that leaves no loose ends. These include generational black trauma, sex addiction, people-pleasing, self-reflection, and a whole lot more. While as a standalone, the track is fantastic, I think at the time Mr. Morale dropped, people didn't realize how important it was to the album's concept. And then Drake came along and wrongly referenced it, and the rest is history. Drake's lyrics got people to come back to Mr. Morale, and the first thing most people heard was this song. I don't know about most of you, but if I heard a song written as well as this one, you bet I am checking out the entire album. So we're gonna kinda go lyric by lyric here, break it down, and connect it to other songs in Mr. Morale.
Shadows clinging to my soul, that's my only critic, where's my faith, told you.
I'm sensitive, I feel everything, I feel everybody, one man standing on 2 words, heal everybody. This is not only a reference to Pimp a Butterfly, an album where Kendrick's goal was to save the world, but a reference to multiple other lyrics in Mr. Morale. Throughout the record, Kendrick talks a lot about the pressure he feels as this savior type figure. Even when problems arise that aren't his, he feels the need to help because his situation is a lot better than, say, someone still stuck in Compton's hood. He feels this guilt for being successful but not being there for his community, and it's starting to eat him apart. We hear the same sentiment on the songs Crown and Savior, and they directly tie into this portion of Mother I Sober. Mother cried, put their hands on her, it was family ties. I heard it all, I should have grabbed a gun, but I was only 5. So at this point in the song, we learn Kendrick's mother was a victim of SA, but we also learn Kendrick was only 5 years old. He knew something was wrong, but being that young, he didn't fully understand. We get to that revelation later in the track. Loved her dearly, traded in my tears for a Range Rover, transformation, you ain't felt grief till you felt it sober. Throughout the song, Kendrick makes various references to his vices. In this case, he's sober from spending money as he realizes it hasn't helped him cope with death. He references these spending habits on other tracks too, including United in Grief and Crown. It's another subtle theme that is scattered all throughout Mr. Morale. Family ties, they accuse my cousin, did he touch you, Kendrick? Never lied, but no one believed me when I said he didn't. So this is the lyric Drake misinterpreted in his diss track. Whereas Kendrick's mother suffered trauma from being physically abused, he faces trauma from nobody believing his truths. This sort of made him spiral, and in the next few lines he says it's hard to trust himself. Did he touch you? I said no again, still they didn't believe me. Mother's brother said he got revenge for my mother's face. Black and blue, the image of my queen that I can't erase. Till this day, can't look her in her eyes, pain is taken over. Blame myself, you never felt guilt till you felt it sober. This lyric is pretty self-explanatory, but I feel it carries some of the heaviest emotions on the album. Kendrick's uncle beat the cousin that violated his mother, and while Kendrick doesn't outright say it, this is his first revelation that revenge isn't always the answer. Based on the guilt he still feels, his uncle's actions didn't do anything to make him feel better. Now, verse 3 is the climax of the album. It's the longest verse on the song, and you can fact check this, but I think it's the longest verse on the album too. Kendrick begins by saying he was never high or drunk and had no dependents except one. This is when we learn about Kendrick's infidelity and sex addiction. It was hinted at in a few songs, but never blatantly laid out like it is here. For example, on United in Grief, Kendrick says he sexed the pain away on tour. He also has a sexual encounter with a white woman on Worldwide Steppers, and when his partner Whitney asks what's wrong in that track, he simply replies that he might be racist. That whole interaction is much deeper, but this is a breakdown of Mother I Sober, not Worldwide Steppers. A few lyrics later, Kendrick reveals to Whitney what's going on, to which she replies recommending him some therapy. This is a pivotal point in Kendrick's journey, as it's not only given him closure on his own thoughts, but the confidence to ask difficult questions to those close to him. I asked my mama why she didn't believe me when I told her no. I never knew she was violated in Chicago. I'm sympathetic. Told me that she feared it happened to me, for my protection. Though it never happened, she wouldn't agree. Now I'm affected. 20 years later, trauma has resurfaced, amplified as I write this song. I shiver cause I'm nervous. This is the point in the song where Kendrick ties his own mother's trauma to his current life situation. Nick B4 explains it really well in his genius annotation. Kendrick is now being directly affected. The lust addiction he falls into causes him to make a horrible mistake himself, similar in essence to the abuse his mother was victim to 20 years ago. Now all the dots are starting to connect, and Kendrick addresses this in the following lines. All those women gave me superpowers, what I thought I lacked. I pray our children don't inherit me in feelings I attract. This bar has a double meaning, as Kendrick is both thanking the important women in his life like his mother and grandmother, but also all the women he slept with. Because he couldn't muster up the feeling of control himself, when he did sleep with these women, it gave him power, and that's ultimately what led to his addiction. Now, these next few lines are the most pivotal point in the song, as Kendrick ties his experiences to generational black trauma. As his rapping starts to get more aggressive and the beat picks up, we sense a breakthrough in his mental state. A conversation not being addressed in black families, the devastation haunting generations in humanity. They arred our mothers, then they arred our sisters, then they made us watch, then made us R each other. Psychotic torture between our lives, we ain't recovered. Kendrick is saying that years of racism, oppression, and slavery have contributed to his family situation, and the same thing is happening to multiple other black families. A few lines later, he explains how this ties into rap, and it also unveils the reason why Kodak Black is featured all over Mr. Morale. I know the secrets every other rapper sexually abused. I see 'em daily burying they pain in chains and tattoos. So listen close before you start to pass judgment on how he moved. Now, don't get me wrong, Kodak has done some absolutely terrible things that we can't look past. If you don't think he should have been included on the album, that's fine. But I think him being on Mr. Morale conveys that hurt people theme. I don't know whether he was violated at some point in his life, but I can't help but feel these lyrics may correlate directly to him. What Kendrick is saying is that forgiveness is important and rehabilitation is something we should practice in our society. Since Kendrick would have never escaped his addiction without therapy and forgiveness for himself, he feels that others deserve it just as much. Kendrick ends the song with some extremely powerful lyrics, setting free everyone mentioned in the song. He sets free himself, his mother, Whitney, and even the cousin that abused his mother. The final lines go, "So I set free the hearts filled with hatred, keep our bodies sacred. As I set free all you abusers, this is transformation." The delivery of that final line is absolutely incredible, and it really feels like Kendrick did make a significant transformation by the end of the song. I absolutely love the way it ties in all of Mr. Morale's themes and has them attack a bigger overall problem. Kendrick's rapping performance is just talk rapping, but I feel it's the only way you can craft a song like this. Plus, it makes his final words have so much more impact and importance because you know you're getting build up to something huge. I want to also give a shout out to the production team for making this entire album sound so cinematic, especially this song. And I want to give another shout out to Beth Gibbons, as she was the only one who could have nailed that shaky and heartbreaking hook. Finally, and most importantly, I want to give a shout out to Drake for unveiling the true beauty of this track. Without him, I don't know if I would have ever made this video. Now, I know Mr. Morale has lots of themes that deal with black plight and other topics I, as a white person, have no business discussing, but the advocacy for therapy and self-forgiveness is a universal theme that everyone can relate to. I think that's why I love the album so much, and this is just a brief 10-minute summary of one song. If I were to do a deep dive into the entire album, it would probably take hours of research to write and complete. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is an incredible record in every facet, and I'm glad people are finally showing it the love it deserves. With all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and let me know if you'd want breakdowns of other songs on the album. Father Time would probably be next. Once again, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.